Hello, friends. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. I know that it's still technically winter, and it felt like winter not that long ago. We were snowed in our house and cooking on a fire. However, it feels like it has skipped right over spring and went straight to summer here in the Ozarks. This week in particular, we are seeing highs in the mid 80s, and it's so exciting to feel that first glimpse of summer coming. With the weather being so nice, I figured I'd take you along with a day outside, doing some yard chores, getting some things done that we need to around the house. We are not working on our garden just yet. I'm going to actually start this weekend. We're expanding it this year. So I am so excited to get started on that, but we're not quite there. We'll start it this weekend. And in the meantime, I figured we could get started on some outdoor things that are still really needing to get done. I have been promising for the last few months that as soon as the weather got really nice, I was going to bring the rugs outside and clean them. This is something I like doing at least once a year. For a while, I was doing it like twice a year. I would do it once in spring and once in fall. Our rugs are pretty bad this year because last year, I don't know if I even did them at all. I might have done them once, but I usually like to do them more often. However, when my son died, I kind of really took a step back and I did not do a lot of the things that we usually do. So last year, if the rugs got washed, it was probably only once. And so they were kind of really needing done at this point. Now, I do have a carpet shampooer. However, over the years, I have found that I really like this method instead. So I will take our rugs and I lay them on the incline of our driveway, and then I will usually use some type of solution. One of my favorites to go with is like a laundry detergent and then Dawn dish soap. It works very well to get them clean. And so I will lay them on the incline of my driveway, and then I'll put the solution on. I wet them really well with the solution, and then I'll let them sit kind of soapy for about a half hour, maybe an hour. If it's really, really warm outside, it will be more like a half hour. And then I only also ever do this if it is really sunny and really warm outside. So, it being one of the first really warm days of the year, I'm going to go ahead and do them today. After I let them sit for a while, kind of all soapy, then I'll rinse them out. Um, the one rug on the left is the rug that is by our couch in our living room, and it is really, really thick. So I decided to get out the carpet shampooer, and I didn't put any more water or solution on it, but I did go ahead and use that to suck the water out of it and kind of speed up the drying process. I didn't want it sitting, and I am glad that I ended up doing that because I think it would have been sitting for quite a while if I had not done that. It doesn't even look very thick, but man, it was a really, really thick rug. The rug on our right is the one that goes under our dining room table, and it is an indoor outdoor rug, which when I went and I was buying them and picking out rugs, I did specifically get an indoor outdoor rug for our dining room. And that was one of the better decisions I've ever made because it is so easy to maintain. And if you do end up spilling on it or anything and it's like a huge mess, you could easily just bring it right outside and pressure wash it, and it's like as good as new. But because it's an indoor outdoor rug, it has a more breathable material and it is thinner, so it dried significantly quicker. That's why you'll see I'm paying a lot more attention to the rug on the left because it was a lot harder to get it clean, to get all the soap out and everything like that. But this really only took an hour, maybe two. If you are wanting to try this method on your rugs, I would suggest just testing it first in like a smaller area of the rug. I have done this with many, many different kinds of rugs. And it has always worked really, really well for me. Like I said, I have this carpet shampooer and it works well. However, I feel like I get the absolute best results when I'm doing the pressure washer using my own solution of dish soap and laundry detergent, and then I'm then going through on the rug with the carpet shampooer. I feel like it almost comes out brand new when you do it like that. And so that's kind of how I do it. But if you're wanting to do that, I would definitely recommend just trying a little small sample of the rug first to make sure that it's not going to ruin it. But like I said, I have done this on many different kinds of rugs, and it always really works very, very well. Another thing worth noting, this thicker rug, and sometimes with thicker rugs, as they dry outside, they can kind of get, I don't want to say the word crunchy, but that's the only word that comes to my mind. It's kind of a little stiffer and it doesn't feel as soft. This rug is an insanely soft rug. And so when I first did this, I was nervous about losing that softness. However, if you get it very, very dry and you get all the soap out of it, like I'm doing here, and then when it's completely dry, you actually go through with your vacuum on a really high setting and just go over it in several different directions for a couple of minutes. It starts to really soften up and it is like brand new again. So that is what I ended up doing with this rug. I ended up vacuuming both, and I think I usually tend to do that, especially today because the leaves were blowing around and it was kind of leaving stuff on the rugs as they were drying. So I really wanted to vacuum them for that reason. But the biggest reason for the thick rug was to get it to soften and loosen up a little. So it was that wonderful texture, that fluffy texture of the rug again, and it wasn't like crunchy like I said before. It, as long as you do that vacuuming, it usually brings it right back to life. So I am going through and sucking up all the water. You don't see me dumping it 1.5 million times, but I did end up doing that. I went over this rug as many times as I could until it stopped pulling up water. And then I ended up moving the rug down so it wasn't just sitting in this wet area, but that's what I'm doing here. I am sucking up all the water until it's not sucking up anymore. Okay, so I've moved the rugs from where I was washing them. This is more of an incline here, and so I like washing the rugs here. So they're on an incline and the water can run down the driveway instead of just sitting in the rugs. So I've moved them so they can dry underneath a little bit more. And then I will, before we bring them up, I'm going to let them dry for a couple hours, go inside, help the kids with school, get some lunch, and do a couple of chores. I like to sweep and vacuum and mop under where these were. So I'm going to do that before we bring them in. But after a couple hours, I'll come back. I'll probably move them maybe once more to see. I'll see how dry they are. And then I'll probably also at least hang this one because this is a really thick rug. So it's going to take longer to dry. This one's actually indoor outdoor and it's already almost completely dry. So that one probably won't need hung. This one I probably will hang so the bottom can get dry and it will dry completely before I bring it in. And then I will also vacuum both of them before. So there's like leaves and stuff blowing on them now. We did blow the driveway before I laid the rugs down, but the wind's kind of blowing stuff around today. So the leaves are blowing on there and stuff, but I will vacuum them after they're completely dry and before we actually put them in the house. I'm going to head up inside and I will see you in a couple of hours. I went through and I vacuumed and swept up any of the stuff that was where the rugs lay. And now I am mopping. I like doing that every single time, so I know that I'm starting with a fresh, clean area. So I'm finishing up that before we head back outside to get more stuff done out there. Does anybody else have outlets on their floor? We do not use them. They're actually both completely covered by the rug, and they're kind of in really bad locations. I try to like have padding on them so they're not being stepped on or anything, but yeah, they're kind of in really awkward areas, and our rug completely covers both of them. So neither of them are in use, and we have a million light switches in our house that I constantly joke about how I hardly know how to use any of them, because there's a couple, there's only a couple that I do know how to use, because it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. Some work these in the floor, and then some of the light switches work the bottom half of our outlets in our house, like on certain walls. And then some are like dual, so if one is switched up, the one in the kitchen then won't turn on, like I don't know. It is so weird, and like you have to have a certain combination for a couple of them. So like, for instance, there are a couple light switches in our dining room area that you can barely even see on the wall back here, but they have to be in a combination. So like, for instance, one has to be up and one has to be down and one has to be up to work this one random light by our backyard garage for like our golf cart. There is a light out there that I actually think I show you in this video, but I don't know how to turn it on because there's 3 switches and they have to be in a combination to turn it on. So anyway, fun fact about me is that I do not know how to work about half of the light switches in our house. And luckily for me, my husband, he does know, or he's very good at guessing. I'm not sure. But he is the one that works most of our light switches. It's the same for like all the ones outdoors, our front porch, everything like that. It is so confusing. But anyway, enough of me rambling. My kids helped me move the table back and put the rug back under the dining room table. The other one is still drying, but this one was completely dry and the floor was clean, so we moved it back in. Our table is insanely heavy. It's one of those like live edge wood tables, and it has metal legs, so it is very, very heavy. And I always joke that my daughter is very strong, so she helped me move the table back and we got it all situated, and this rug is just finishing drying up. We are moving on to the backyard. I never really know what to call this area because it's like a concrete slab and it wraps around our pool. And I've said a couple of times on my channel before that our house is like a U shape and it kind of wraps around our pool. Well, this concrete area is the area that goes around the pool. So it's kind of skinnier in areas. And we have this pergola that my husband built, and a couch and our grill and stuff out here. My son and I, he was trying to help me. We were trying to figure out, because this couch used to come apart like in sections. And then I remembered last year, I think it was, or the year before, my husband did something to make them not come apart. So my 15-year-old, he was trying to figure out, what is going on. And then we finally found out that there's like these little clips that was holding the sections together. And so, but anyway, we were trying to clear it out so we can sweep underneath. They're hollow underneath, and he found a spider, so we were kind of like getting the debris from that out of there. But okay, so another fun fact, this video is just going to be a fun fact about Amber type of video, but I am really afraid of, it's not really like snakes and stuff in particular, but anything creepy crawly I just cannot do. So like mice, spiders for the most part. I try to, like, the ones that aren't dangerous, I try to let them live and, have their peaceful life as long as it's not near me. But I am deathly afraid of just really anything that's like creepy crawly. And I say that, but also I mean like birds, they freak me out too. It's really anything that's like not predictable. I think if there was like a bunny that hopped by me, I would probably scream just because it would startle me, but then I would probably be fine with it. But I don't know what that phobia is, but it's just, I always am like, I just don't like anything that like is unpredictable, I guess, like that. So anyway, a couple of years ago, I was doing this. I do this every spring where I clean off our little couch area and I sweep under it and get any of the debris or anything. I try to do this every single spring. And so I was doing that one spring, and there was a shriveled up, like dried out snake underneath, and it has traumatized me ever since. I grew up in like the Chicago area, and you do not see snakes very often. You can go outside and live your life, and you're not really going to run into a snake usually. Down here, they're everywhere. And we live on a golf course, which does really well with pest control. However, within the last year, they switched owners, and now they're like kind of trying to save, I guess. And so they're not doing as well with pest control. And so unfortunately, my 15-year-old he is a mama's boy, and he is so sweet, and he's there for me to, protect me from the creepy crawlies under our outside sectional. So he was basically just helping me with that. He was there for like moral support and obviously to lift the sectional while I swept under it. But I am so grateful that he deals with me and my quirks because sometimes I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with myself sometimes. I'm curious if other people have dealt with like the creepy crawlies in their area and they just kind of outgrew it, or if they're still freaked out by it. I'm hoping that I eventually get over this. I want to say that I would be a lot better if like I grew up in an area that had more like creepy crawly type of stuff, but we just really didn't. We didn't have we had mice like in the fall because we were kind of near this like field, and so they would sneak into houses in the fall, like when it started getting cold. But I was still like, I don't think that's something I will ever get over. I am deathly afraid of mice. And but yeah, they would come in to houses like that were around this field, and it was like once a year, and it wasn't a lot by any means. But anyway, I'm hoping that I eventually get over whatever this is the longer I live here. But we have so many different things. Okay, so another funny thing. I did not know that road runners were an actual thing outside of a cartoon, because I had never seen one until we moved here. And, we all know the road runners from Looney Tunes. That was the only time I had ever seen one like that until I moved here. And then it was like within the first couple months that we were living in this house, I see this random bird running through our yard, and then was like, went down the driveway and on the road, and it was running like the road runner in the cartoon. And I'm like, wow, that is so wild. And so I actually ended up Googling it, and it was a road runner. And I'm like, I didn't even know one of those existed. I know I took a video of it. I'm going to have to find that now and show you, because I thought that was the funniest thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, they actually exist. They're significantly smaller than, well, maybe no. Maybe he's pretty small in the cartoon too. I don't know. I thought they were more like ostrich size. Clearly, I was very wrong. But anyway, we have so many creatures in this area, and I'm sure I haven't even seen half of them. But one of the biggest, so we have a pool, and there's ponds and lakes and stuff nearby. So there's all kinds of frogs and really pretty ones. Actually, we end up with, like, in my plants, usually around the pool, there's like these really beautiful colored frogs that we see in the summertime. So we love having those. They're like tree frogs. They're beautiful. But there's a lot of frogs, there's a lot of snakes. A lot of people use stuff to limit the amount of snakes. There's like things that you can buy. So yeah, there's a lot of that. There is a lot of lizards, and they always end up scaring me. I don't know, it's kind of neat watching them. There's all different colors and stuff like that. And we usually have a whole bunch that kind of creep up onto our front porch. They like to lay in the sun, but they will scare me at first, because at first, out of the corner of your eye, they look like a snake. And so that freaks me out initially. But yeah, I'm hoping that I eventually get over this. The longer that I live with these creatures and get used to them. But do you have a lot of creatures? Did you ever get used to them? I would love to know. After we worked outside for quite a while, I snuck back in to make some dinner. We had chorizo tacos, and they hit the spot. It felt so much like summer. It was hot outside. We were all working outside, and then we had some fresh tacos. So it definitely had the summer vibes. And look at this sunset. It was so beautiful. While my son and I were working on our back deck area, my daughter was raking the other side of the yard with the boys, and they were making big leaf piles. And then she went ahead and just filled up our bird seed in our bird feeders for the first time this year. We have one out our front window that I actually keep all year long because we always have birds in it. But this one back here does not get as many birds, so we only do it whenever it starts to get warmer. I am going ahead and trimming these bushes. I did not do this last year, so they are really tall. And I don't like doing it after they like flower and everything, and that's usually when I remember that they're too tall. So I am excited that I actually got to them before they were too tall this year, and they haven't flowered, because I cannot bring myself to cut any of. They are so beautiful. They're like beautiful red hibiscus flowers, and they fill up this entire fence line, and it is so beautiful. And so I will not cut them, even if they are crazy tall, because I just love the flowers. So I will have them cut this year, and I'm glad that I did do that. So now we can enjoy a bunch of hibiscus flowers, and they won't be insanely high. So I don't know if you can see right there to the right of the screen, just beyond the fence. You'll be able to see a little better maybe in a minute when I move the camera, but there appears to be like a dark area of the grass. So we had a fire going in an enclosed fire pit, and an ember escaped and actually lit this grass on fire. And I don't remember what they called the grass that they have on the golf course here, but it's highly flammable and it spreads so quickly. So we actually already had our hose hooked up, and it was ready to go. The whole thing was probably 30 seconds. Maybe even less. It was very quick from the time it started, because my son and I, we were right there and right next to the fire pit, and it was taken care of very quickly. However, it is so flammable that it spread very quickly, and it got to about 10 by 6 foot piece of our grass back there. So in a couple weeks, it will be very beautiful and green and fertilized nicely. But for now, it is terrible looking. It is all burned, unfortunately. And I know it's pretty common. A lot of the people in this area, they burn their fields and grass and stuff to fertilize for plants and all that stuff. However, it's just nothing that me and my husband were used to. It's another thing from Chicago that you can't even burn leaves up there, and you don't really have this kind of stuff happening. So it is very new to us. That's why it's a little odd and something we're getting used to, even though, like I said, it was in an enclosed fire pit. So it was kind of a weird situation. But anyway, that is all I have for you today. Thank you for spending the day outside with me and hanging out. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.